So I'm going to start skipping over a couple seconds of this video, mainly because it doesn't really have to do with any of the points I'm trying to make in this video about the claims of the student, how she's debunking evolution. So if you want to see the full video, I'll leave a link in the description down below for you to watch that video.
But in my class, I try to teach you to think for yourself. Are there any questions?
I find it funny how the teacher is telling his students to think for themselves, and yet there's no questions at all.
No questions? Kayla, you've been unusually quiet.
She's not really being too quiet because the rest of the class is being quiet, but I'm going to address one thing here. She's in biology class. Why is there an earth science book on her desk?
Oh, that's okay.
But I know there's a God. I felt him. You can't explain my entire faith away with just a couple of chapters from the science book.
Alright, I have a question for you. I believe that there's a giant pink unicorn that's always behind you, and only I can see him. And every time you blink, he can fly to the North Pole in 0.00002 seconds, poop on Santa Claus, and then come straight back before your eyes open again. Would you believe me? No, because it's a ridiculous claim, and our beliefs should be looked into with evidence. I believe that evolution, is a natural process that is still occurring to this day. I only believe this because I looked into it. I used to believe in God until I looked into the evidence against it.
Mark, feelings can be compelling, but also very misleading. Now, I don't mind if you have faith in your God.
Actually, there is multiple pieces of evidence from independent lines of study that proves evolution exists. For example, embryology, fossil records, DNA comparison, species distribution, etc. But I'll leave a link in the description to a video by Stated Clearly, which gives them a lot of explanation and evidence for evolution if you're confused on it. Actually, there is multiple pieces of evidence from independent lines of study that proves evolution exists. For example, embryology, fossil records, DNA comparison, species distribution, etc. But I'll leave a link in the description to a video by Stated Clearly, which gives them a lot of
But science doesn't require faith. It requires evidence. Anyone else?
Well, it seems to me that that's just what's missing from the whole idea of evolution.
What's missing?
Evidence.
Actually, there is multiple pieces of evidence from independent lines of study that proves evolution exists. For example, embryology, fossil records, DNA comparison, etc. But I'll leave a link in the description to a video by Stated Clearly, which gives them a lot of explanation and evidence for evolution if you're confused on it.
It just seems that it takes much more faith to believe in evolution than to believe in a designer.
Do you have any examples?
Well, how about when the textbook talks about the law of biogenesis? How life cannot come from non-life.
Here's the thing. Nobody fully knows where life came from. I admit that. A lot of scientists will admit that. But it's a lot better than believing a bunch of stories written by ancient Hebrew men who didn't have a huge understanding of the world around them.
But then in the next chapter, it talks about how all life sprung from non-living material. And then it talks about mutation and natural selection and how it can change one animal into another, but mutation only loses information and natural selection can only choose from what's there.
A mutation does not delete information. Basically what a mutation is just a change in something's DNA. For example, if there was a green snake that lived in the desert, it would be seen by predators. But if one of those snakes had a kid that had a mutation to where its pigment was more kind of yellowish and brownish to blend in with the sand around it, then that new mutation and the snake that has a mutation has a higher chance of survival because that mutation helps it blend in more and camouflage. That's what natural selection is. It's just something that has a higher odds of surviving is to spread those genes.
So how does a simple living organism turn into something like us?
It's called evolution. Also, the kid in the back brought a math book to biology class. Come on!
I mean, you have to think about, like, the complexity of the human eye.
I've heard this argument a lot when I get into debates, people. The eye is so complex. It's there's no way it could be designed through evolution. But humans can only see 3.1 miles, or about 5 kilometers. That's how far our visual acuity extends beyond the horizon. But hawks can see 8 times that much. Humans have 3 color cones in the back of our eyes so we can perceive color. But the mantis shrimp eye has 12.
And how we could never design something like that, or how the human body can heal itself.
This goes back to evolution, because all the animals that could not heal themselves properly in an efficient manner were at a greater disadvantage than those who could. But now I have a question for you. If your God is so loving and so good to his children, he puts them above all the other animals, then why can't he make us like lizards, so when our arms get blown off, they just grow right back in a matter of a few months?
I just don't understand how some half-pound insect-eating shrew that somehow dodged whatever killed the dinosaurs could evolve from ape to ape-man over millions of unseen years, and then poof, you have humans.
Well, that's kind of close to what evolution is, and how the evolution of man came to be, except we weren't really shrews, because they weren't around yet, but I'll give you a pass on that.
If evolution were true, we'd have millions of in-between creatures running around everywhere, right?
I'm unsure of what she means by this, but I'm going to assume the fact that what she means by this is that all the in-between creatures should still exist, and humans should exist alongside them. If this isn't what you're saying, then let me know. I can change this video afterwards. But so, basically, the only reason is because this is like the argument of if man evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? We didn't evolve from monkeys. Monkeys and humans evolved from a common ancestor. Just like you and your cousin have a common ancestor, your grandmother or your grandfather.
And all of the in-between fossils could fit in the back of my Prius.
The Smithsonian Museum claims that there is around 6,000 in-between fossils that are known scientifically, and that have been proven completely true. So the Toyota Prius from 2016 has around 24.6 to 27.4 cubic feet of trunk space. A sugar cube takes up 0.16 inches. Now if we multiply the volume of the sugar cube times 6,000, which would mean 6,000 of them, for example, amount of fossils there were, it would have to take up 960 cubic inches, which comes over 27 feet. Which means if 6,000 sugar cubes could not fit in the back of your Prius, then 6,000 fossils could not either.
And you know what else? I just don't understand how all of this started.
Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's not true. I don't understand the whole deal of astrophysics. I cannot grasp the size of the universe's, largeness. Doesn't mean it's not that large, though.
I mean, you say that science doesn't rely on faith, but evolution requires faith. Faith that everything just burst out of nothing, that gas clouds collapsed and turned into stars, and all this stuff just collided around the sun to create planets, including Earth.
They're just natural processes. There's nothing supernatural about them. Things happen because of natural processes. Gas clouds condense into stars due to gravity. It's a natural process.
And became humans. All without intelligence or design? I just think it takes a lot more faith to believe in evolution than it does to believe that all the design, marvelous design around us points to a designer.
You know what, girl? I think you're right this time. Let us thank God for all the marvelous, wondrous, beautiful things he's made for us, like AIDS, viruses, tsunamis, tornadoes, hurricanes, and giant asteroids. Thank you, Jesus.
And now I'm just rambling, so does anyone else have a question?
Okay, I'm gonna insert a shitty joke now. You can say we were saved by the bell from this video.
You need to shut the fuck up!
Yeah.